to all my friends and followers on Facebook. This is a video I've been wanting to do for a while. I think it's got some powerful messages in there that I hope resonate with you. So I hope you enjoy this video. I want to talk about opinions. The age-old saying is that opinions are like arseholes. Everyone's got them, and some of them are full of shit. Now, 2020 and 2021 saw a kind of a rise in people using social media more because they were obviously in lockdown and they had no way else to communicate with other people quite often, so they were venting their thoughts and opinions online, maybe more than normal. So instead of the normal kind of pictures of cake and lunches and scenic places, they were now using it more like a diary and putting their opinions across. We've seen a different side to a lot of people that maybe you didn't realise that they thought that way about certain things. I mean, for example, look at some of the stuff that we've been discussing over the last 2 years. The rules about lockdown, whether or not you think they're right or wrong, and putting your opinions on, the government's handling of situations. Elections, we've had elections going on, and like who's going to take, in recent years, there's been a lot of opinions on that. We had Brexit, where your stances were on that, and that was drawing on a lot of people that were putting their opinions on that. Black Lives Matter, that was a huge, social media movement going on and everything, and everyone was kind of weighing in with their opinions there. And it makes you stop and think, I believe, as to how well do you really know anyone? Like, really, how well do you really know anyone? And I mean, and I'm not just talking about because you follow them on Facebook and social media. Everyone kind of has that in the back of their mind that, everyone knows that social media is not a real, true reflection on a person. But I mean in real life as well. How well do you really know somebody that you work with, that you might see on a week-to-week basis, somebody that you live with in your household, somebody that, all this kind of stuff. How well do you really know them? The last couple of years, personally myself, I had a few shocking instances where, somebody quite close to me, it turned out was capable of some heinous acts, just awful. And I didn't know that, that they were capable of something like that. And I've seen friends in relationships where they've imploded, and one half has shown their real colours, and it just came out of nowhere. And people might not be what they present when you see them on a regular basis or when you see them on nights out. And so that's what I want to talk to you about in this video, is about how well do you know people and thinking about their opinions. I've posted stuff on my social media before now. And it's offended people, I've had people unfriend me, and I've posted stuff and they've commented and said, "This is so unlike you, Lee." I had to stop and think about that for a second, because I'm like, well, as the person that posted it, that is very like me. That is my thoughts on that. But for whatever reason, the thing that I posted, it kind of shook them, and they thought that, wow, that's not very much like me, which makes you think then, how well do they actually know me? How well do they know my thoughts and my processes? I'm going to tell you about a young woman called Jordan Worth now. Okay, so let's have a look at some pictures of Jordan Worth. She's a 22-year-old young woman. She had gained a 2-1 honours degree in fine arts from the University of Hertfordshire, and had been volunteering for animal charities, and she also wanted to become a teacher as well. She'd even raised money for children in Africa. To all of her friends, her and her partner Alex Skeel, Jordan and Alex were a normal couple. They, the pictures that were put on Jordan's social media were very typical of a normal couple. She'd put pictures up of her with a toast spreading jam in the shape of a heart and saying, doing this for my man because I love him, and all this kind of stuff. They were the normal, typical relationship, going on trips to theme parks and all sorts, and posting pictures. Behind closed doors, though, she was an abuser. Even though she's only 22 and she's quite a petite frame, as you can see from the pictures there, she was an absolute horrible girlfriend, and she nearly killed her boyfriend Alex. There's a documentary on it on BBC iPlayer that I recommend people watch. They'd met when they were both 16 in 2012, and apparently it just got worse and worse as years went on, and she became more and more controlling. It got to the point where she was pouring boiling water over her boyfriend. He was wrapping his own wounds in cling film. He wasn't allowed to go and speak to any of his friends or see any of his friends or contact them about anything. She started just punching him to start off with, but then it escalated to things like bottles, bits of wood, tools like hammers and things like that, and she would hit him with them and assault him with them. And it got to the point where she'd stabbed him as well with things like screwdrivers and stuff. The only reason that she was arrested in 2019 under the new domestic abuse laws, and Jordan Worth is the first woman to be convicted under those new laws that came into the UK in 2019. The only reason that this kind of got brought to attention was the neighbours. The neighbours had been complaining about it for a while, but they really, like one night, obviously things had got really bad and they called the police, and the scene to which they were then presented was awful in the home, with blood and things like that. And she was finally, this monster was finally arrested. But just look at that kind of background about her, well-educated, doing an honours degree in fine arts, volunteering for animal charities, raising money for children in Africa. I'm sure to her friends and, what she was posting on social media, nobody had a clue. I bet everybody thought that she was a lovely young lass. Nobody really knew her. Nobody really knew what was going on behind closed doors. And that's the scary thing. That's what I want to highlight to people, this powerful message is that you shouldn't just take people's word at face value when they tell you something. I'm not saying that we should all go around mistrusting everyone, because, that's not a way to live. But you should also be open-minded that you don't believe the first kind of things that you're hearing out of people's mouth when they're like maybe complaining about things. So, for example, we all have work colleagues that, come into work and complain about their other half, all right? We all have best mates, we all have mates that we go on nights out with, and they complain about their partner. You have no idea, realistically, what is going on behind closed doors in that relationship. And you never will. You won't understand your friend, what they're like in a romantic way, if you understand what I'm saying there. So think about your colleague. You might see them on a lunch break for an hour a day. You go for a walk or sit in the canteen together and you chat for an hour, and you might occasionally go on some nights out together where you all get pissed and you have a laugh. You do not really know that person in the same kind of way that a boyfriend or girlfriend would. And the same goes for families as well. The relationship that a sibling has, like a brother or sister has is very different to a romantic relationship as boyfriend girlfriend. So you might have grown up with somebody as their brother or their sister, and you think to yourself, God, I feel sorry for whoever takes them on because they're bloody hard work. I grew up with them. I know what they're like. But you don't know what they're like in a romantic way. You know what they're like to live with and as a brother, sister, and as a sibling, which gets on each other's tits all the time. But you don't really know what they're going to be like in a romantic capacity, or what they're going to be like when they're in their own place with not in a family setting, in a family home, but in their own place doing their own thing. You don't know that. And the same with your children as well. I'm kind of guilty of this as well. I look at my youngest. I still see her as a baby, even though she's like 4 years old. I'm very soft on her that way. But realistically, she's 4. She's growing up, and I'm probably I still look at Jack sometimes and remember that little lad that was just dead excited about every game that I ever played and wanted to just watch me playing all the time and things like that. It's hard sometimes to kind of see them growing up, to see that actually they're not that little kid anymore. They are getting older, and that can transform into adulthood. I know for a fact that I've got family members that still think I'm like, a child, that don't realize that I'm quite capable at a lot of things. There was only my grandma that ever really kind of got that understood that I'd actually grown up. Yeah, most of you all know me as being goofy and silly, whatever. That doesn't mean I'm not, sensible, mature, and that I can do things and all this kind of stuff. And it's, I think sometimes it's hard for people to separate and realize that maybe you don't know that person as well as you thought. The stuff that I've been bought for presents by family members, I've been like, what? Like, why would I want this? But yet my wife knows exactly what I want, and she'll buy me something awesome because she knows me. Yeah, my kids know me, but my own family members don't seem to know me. And that's where I want to talk about. This is what I'm trying to say is about understanding people, understanding that your perception of somebody might not be as real as it is. So you should take the time to maybe kind of hear both sides of stories. So cycling back to, say, a work colleague, let's say that, somebody comes into work and rants about their partner. Oh, I'll tell you what, my Darren's doing me head in. He comes in from work every day, and all he does is he just sits straight down on his games console and he just plays on like FIFA all night. Like, he barely wants to talk to me or anything like that. I'm getting sick of him. He doesn't do anything around the house. He doesn't. He never helps or offers to help wash up or anything, and he's always leaving me with the kids and shit like that. I'm getting sick of it. I am. Oh, tell you what, mate, I'm getting well pissed off with Denise. All I want to do when I come home from work is just sit down and just tune out the world for a bit. I work hard all day. I've got people, customers whinging, complaining at me all day, every day. I'm there going to work, working hard, bringing home the money. And all I want to do when I come home is just sit and chill and just kind of zone out for a bit. And yet all I get is me. Oh, it's fucking doing me head, mate. She's a right nightmare. So, as you can see from both those examples, that's quite stereotypical of a lot of rants and stuff that, a lot of couples have, and that they'll go and complain to their mates about. Now, individually, both of their, if you were listening to Denise or you were listening to Darren, what they're saying, you would be like, okay, fair enough, yeah, that sounds pretty bad and all this kind of stuff, and it sounds like your other half doesn't understand. But if you then spoke to the other person and got their side of it, you might get a different take on their relationship and actually realize that both of them just haven't really been talking to each other very well there. That Darren, obviously he's been working all day. Obviously he's come in and he's been grafting and he feels that he's bringing in all the money. But he shouldn't, and he obviously wants to tune out for a little bit, but he shouldn't have to then get to just sit there all day and do nothing. Obviously, helping with cooking, maybe doing a bit of washing up, maybe looking after the kids just for an hour or something like that, sitting with them to take the burden off his partner who's been with them all day. That's understandable. You can't just be like, well, I bring in the money, so I'm not doing anything else. And conversely as well with kind of Denise in that scenario, she's got a valid point. She's like, complaining, saying that all he does is come in and just sit down and do nothing. But he's obviously been working. He's had a lot of customers. He's had a lot of stuff going on at him all day. He's knackered. He's tired. He wants to come in and he just wants to veg for a little bit. Now, in that scenario there, them two just needed to kind of converse and come up with a system and a kind of, a little conversation. But to their partners, they're thinking, to their friends, each one of them is going off, is ranting, and they're painting a negative picture about their other half, which, without conversing with it, do that over and over again, do that times 10, do that over months, do that over years of a relationship. All Denise's friends are going to think is Darren's a dickhead. And all Darren's mates are going to think that Denise is just high maintenance when she's got a valid point, And so this is what I'm on about, is you shouldn't just, going back to Jordan, people thought that she was lovely, she was kind, she was nice, and no one had any idea what was going on behind, how awful she was. And just because she had a petite frame and she was, charitable minded and well educated and all this kind of stuff, doesn't mean that she's immediately innocent, that people should just presume that, she was the innocent party in that. If it weren't for the neighbours getting involved, that, who knows what could have happened. I genuinely think Alex would have died. He said as much himself, that he was about 10 days away from death. And I've had to remove people on my Facebook myself. I've had to delete people just because of the negativity they have and the automatic stance that, that they believe what maybe, that women are always right, shall we say. I had to unfriend somebody because no matter what I said, it was just men were evil. Men were just wrong. Men were just bad. And that's possibly because of her experiences in life. But it just got to a point where I was like, like I know loads of great dads that really go above and beyond for their kids. I know so many amazing dads that juggle a shit ton of stuff that, even if they don't work and they stay at home, they go above and beyond, that they do a lot of stuff and they've really gone above and beyond. So I wasn't really willing to stand for that kind of stuff. And, that's just the message I want to give out before I end this video is stop and think sometimes. If somebody's coming to rant to you about something, maybe, be a little bit open-minded. We've all got friends that we think, I love that person to pieces. They're an absolute blast on a night out, but I fucking wouldn't want to date them. They'd be high maintenance. And think that's the kind of thing I want you to think about is we don't really know anyone, and don't take things on social media at face value, as people did with Jordan. Nobody really knows anything. Nobody really knows. And social media, it's just a way for people to express themselves on how they're feeling at that time. Okay? Right? Stay safe, stay well, and ciao for now, y'all. Thanks for watching.